Okay. We can make it.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Backlot Banter movie review. My name is Sarah Hazel, and this is my co-host who has saved me from a flooded cave a number of times, Taryn Dykstra, and today we're here to talk about Ron Howard's latest motion picture, 13 Lives, streaming on Amazon Prime Video for you to watch right now. But if you want to talk to us about 13 Lives, please, or Ron Howard, please join our Discord. The link is in the description, and while you're down there, you can like this video, subscribe to our channel, and you can ring our bell because that bell will let you know, right in this little ear of yours, when we are uploading new videos, new movie reviews for your viewing pleasure. So thank you very much for joining me. Tanner Dykstra, you have seen 13 Lives. I have seen 13 Lives. Perfect birthday gift for me, a new Ron Howard picture. I'm the world's biggest Ron Howard fan that I know.
I want to let you go first. It's your birthday. It's a Ron Howard movie. I want you to give your thoughts first, Tucker.
This is unprecedented. But, so this is an interesting film for me. I have become a big Ron Howard fan over the course of the last year, just watching a lot of movies through his filmography, and I quietly think he is I loudly think that he's quietly one of the most impressive filmmakers I've ever seen because he reaches his little fingers and toes into all sorts of different genres. And this, I would say, is a return to form for him, in my opinion. He has been floundering a little bit. You know, I still respect the man. I think he's a great guy. But Solo, Hillbilly Elegy, Inferno, like most of his movies since, I would say, Rush in 2013, have not been on top of his game. But I really do think that this is him close to, if not the very top of his game, because 13 Lives is one of my favorite movies of the year, not because I necessarily think it's the most technically impressive, not because I think the performances are the best, but because for what this movie needed to be, which is a recreation, a retelling of a very dramatic and heroic story, I think they could not have been done better. This movie has a reverence for its quote-unquote source material, but, you know, the real-life accuracy of an event, to likes of which I've never seen in a film. And combined with the storytelling going on here with the characters and the writing and the editing, I think everything is absolutely top notch. I think people were right to initially say that this is one of the best movies of the year because it's out and I've seen it and I absolutely agree.
Yeah, sure. Tucker, I don't entirely disagree with you there.
Okay,
I think the accuracy is really something that Ron Howard does incredibly well with 13 Lives. It is something to behold, like you said. And you know, I would agree with you that, you know, it's not really the performances or you know, the writing or anything that's like speaking to me here, but it is the committal to translating the real event one to one from life to screen. And I think that you know, that is a strength and a detriment of the film, I think. Like going to the performances, maybe, like, yes, it is incredible to see the heroism that these divers had, but you know, we are spread around to all the people who are involved in this, you know, 5,000 people across 17 countries or something like that. And I find it difficult to find a single character or a character arc or something like that to latch onto. But what Ron Howard recognizes with 13 Lives is the inherent drama and the inherent, you know, just interest that the world was gripped by back in 2018 when this happened, and he translates that to the screen very, very well. I mean, when you are in the cave and when we are following any of these divers, like through these basically like pinhole openings in this rocky cave that's fully flooded or whatever, that's edge of your seat stuff right there. And Ron Howard knows what he's doing with that. He can direct that very, very well. He can edit that very, very well. The sound design is very, very good in this film. And when you get down to those moments, that's where this film excels.
No, I absolutely agree. I think that it's the best and it's most unique and most impressive when it's in those underwater sections. I think that the sound design, especially, as you mentioned, is key in those moments. And the handheld and shaky nature of the camera that is following these guys through these caves. And I honestly don't know how a lot of it was captured with that claustrophobic feel, that the pressure of the caves and the water and the stalactites and the shipping not dead bodies, but unconscious bodies of children through caves. I don't know how they accomplished that with the amount of tightness and pressure that it portrays. But I think while the movie is at its most impressive and unique in those circumstances, I think that it is incredibly impressive elsewhere. And I don't think, well, it's not due solely to the performances. I think the performances are great. I just think they're understated.
Sure.
You don't love the characters of, let me tell you, Richard Stanton and John Valanthan, played by Viggo Mortensen, Colin Farrell, and Dr. Richard Harris, played by Joel Edgerton. You're not in love with these guys, but you're invested in their heroism and their ingenuity and their ability
Yeah.
to do something that no one else on the planet can. And I think that the way that their stories are told so reservedly, which is not exactly the exact word I was going for, but close enough. You understand what I'm just going for, is that we're not focused on these guys. This is not a story about Dr. Richard Stanton, having a day going into mines. It is about his involvement in this larger thing. It's about the community of the planet coming together and people helping each other out. And so I think the fact that we don't have specific characters that we latch on to is actually a good thing. Because I think it would be very easy for a less skilled filmmaker to make this film about one person and their arc over the course of this, and add some side plots, add some side characters, give him a really nice character arc where he grows over the course of the film, and focus the film on that. But instead, it's about the event. And I think that's the important thing. That's what I was trying to say earlier about why this film impressed me so much, is this film Ron Howard knew what this film needed to be, which is making people understand the heroism and danger and camaraderie collaboration of this event, not through characters, but through just portraying the event as it is. And watching Joel Edgerton, Viggo Mortensen, Colin Farrell just breathe a sigh of relief or shake a little bit with anxiety. Those are the moments of acting that I think really stand out, even if I'm not like, oh boy, what he learned, that's such a key moment. Oh, the setup and payoff. No, it's not about that. This is about the story of realism. And there's no, well, there are character arcs in real life. People change. Yes. But real life is not about those character arcs. It's not about subplots. And I think avoiding those pretty much at all costs in favor of realism and accuracy is actually the best thing that Ron Howard could have done for this film.
Sure, yeah, I agree. I think you're right. I mean, I'm not saying the performances are bad. I mean, our cast does a great job in the little moments, the understated moments, like you were saying. I mean, like when they get those first 4 boys out of the cave, and Colin Farrell is talking about, there was a time when he stopped breathing, and he's stumbling over his words. He's like, but he's fine. He's like talking himself through that and processing this 7-hour journey that he just took, where a boy's life was in his hands, knowing that he has to do it 2 more times in the coming days.
Yeah.
And that's good stuff like there. I especially liked Joel Edgerton, because I think he has this added interest that maybe Viggo and Colin don't, where his character, a real person that he's portraying, he's breaking like ethical boundaries doing this. He's like, this isn't ethical, this isn't safe, no one has ever done this before. And he's the one in charge and making the calls about, putting these kids under anesthesia and taking them underwater through 7 hours of a dangerous cave system and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed his performance. It also helps that I think it's concentrated a little bit. He doesn't show up until maybe halfway through the movie.
Oh, absolutely,
probably more as well. But I also wanted to shout out the performances from our Thai actors. I think they were comparable, maybe even if not better, and have it packing a little bit of a punch.
And I think it's because you're sitting there and you're like, that's Viggo Mortensen.
Exactly,
I saw him
that's
in Lord
Colin
of the Rings,
Farrell.
and Colin Farrell has been in all these wacky movies.
He was just the penguin.
That's true. That was just this year.
Yeah.
But of course, you don't feel that with the Thai actors, and I think a lot of the not supporting cast, but the extras are probably just people from Thailand or wherever they were filming these sequences of parents crying, people surrounding TVs waiting for the news, or praying, or joining a sense of community, cooking for the people that are volunteering. Those extras absolutely sell the scope and scale and camaraderie of the whole event.
Yeah, a few of my favorites. I did want to shout them out. I will butcher these names because I'm a stupid American, and these are
just a little Iowa boy. You never heard of Thailand.
But I'm going to shout out Sajak Boonthanaket, who plays the governor of the province. He's great just because there's this underlying, maybe there's like a subplot to this as well, where
very minor one.
Yeah, very minor one where he has been fired by like his superior, whatever, the prime minister or whoever is in charge of him.
It's the Minister of Interior, I believe.
Okay, the Minister of Interior.
Which, by the way, I don't know from this movie. I just want to clarify.
Oh, yeah.
I watched The Rescue, the documentary about this film, like 30 minutes after I finished watching 13 Live. So when I'm talking about the accuracy and mentioning some different things, it's because I watched them back to back, which, by the way, I think is absolutely the best way to watch both of these. Both of them made me appreciate each other more. Appreciate each other more.
But his character of the governor of this province has been fired, and he's basically been told, you're in charge because if shit goes wrong, you're the fall guy.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And there's a moment when he goes out and they've discovered that the boys are alive and stuff like that, and he's like, it's before he like opens the doors to go to this press conference, and he's like, now you'll see why the minister left me in charge. And he opens the door and he tells them, we're very hopeful. You should remain hopeful. We're gonna get these boys out alive.
Yeah.
Because his thought process there is, I don't know this. If they're gonna hate me when these things go wrong anyway, when these kids die, I might as well give them hope now.
Absolutely.
And that's a really interesting character arc, or a really interesting character motive for him that comes around when everything, like, all these kids live at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I also wanted to shout out Tiradon Supampino, I believe, as Coach Eck. He is also fantastic in this. I love just the little moments he gets where he's like sure that these parents are hating him, are cursing his name for leading these kids in there. But then he's the one getting these kids through this in this cave and stuff like that. And he's the last one to leave, essentially. And I loved his performance as well.
Yeah, and of course, the performances of the little boys who are on the soccer team who have been trapped in the cave. The amount of just bravery that these boys have, like, not a single tear shed. They're always happy and understanding and excited when things are happening. That really is what made my mother, who was next to me, feel the most. And I think that's obviously where the heart of the film is just the bravery of these boys and everyone in the world coming together to say them. Of course, that's how it happened in real life. And where I want to mention another really impressive thing, or maybe the most impressive thing that I found about this film, is the combination of filmmaking and accuracy to real life, being able to tell such a building and tense story where things are going wrong and people are showing up at just the right time and right under the wire they're saving all these lives. Those are all still things that actually happened. And I watched the film and I'm like, okay, I'm sure this is very accurate. I understand Ron Howard, shooting
taking liberties.
Yeah, I thought that he took some liberties, and then I watched the documentary and I'm like, as the documentary progressed, I'm like, no, wait, this actually happened. No, wait, beat for beat, he actually used real life tension moments to enhance the tension in the film. And I think that's really impressive, that as far as I can tell from the research I've done, which is watching the documentary The Rescue, the only moment of creative liberty is when a guy fumbles the needles and drops them on the ground. That didn't happen, but he did shake a little bit, like he was nervous when he did. So there's just very small moments where, of course, he heightens the tension to get you on the edge of your seat a little more. But things like the monsoon rains coming just the day before the last ones are to get out, or the cave flooding days after they got everyone out, or even the last little boy having an ill-fitting pink mask that they had to worry about. All of these things actually happened, and I really think it's great that Ron Howard didn't create a side character. He didn't create a collapse in the cave to just get you on the edge of the seat more. He's like, no, present it like it actually happened, and then that'll be enough to get you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
The only thing he did leave out is that Viggo Mortensen's character actually knew someone from the village where this was happening, and she became his wife. They knew her, he knew her before, and he married her right after, which is a plotline that he easily could have added, but I think that calls back to what I was saying earlier of staying away from character arcs about the heroes, the divers, and focusing on the event a little more. So I think that was a smart decision not to add that extra character or character motivation, just to keep it a little more laser focused on just showing the event of saving the kids from the cave.
Yeah, absolutely. And we said it at the beginning, but I just want to reiterate those underwater scenes when when people are feeling their way through this murky water and trying to drag tanks through and stuff like that. Those are edge of your seat, your heart is thumping in your chest moments. When the tragic death of one of the Thai Navy divers, Saman, when he loses his oxygen mask and is trying to make it back, but then is slowing down as his body dies. that is, that's a harrowing scene.
Yeah.
And it is that's just I think it just shows the strength of Ron Howard behind the camera here as a director, translating this event and making it accurate, but also making it a filmic spectacle and a filmic journey to take the audience on. Sort of reliving the dramatic events that actually unfolded in real life. So that's why, for me, this film is going to get, Tucker, I'm not a big Howard head like you, so I'm anticipating what you're going to give it. I'm going to give this one an 8.3 out of 10.
Sure. Yeah, very solid. I think honestly, I think this movie will grow on you. I think
so too.
I think you'll join me
Yes.
up here at the very tippy top, because as I said at the beginning of this review, Ron Howard, it's my birthday, perfect combination. I got to watch it with my mom and my girlfriend. It was a great night. But especially after watching The Rescue, which I recommend you do, and of course you in the audience, you do that as well after watching this film, or before, I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm giving this film a 10 out of 10. I think that for what it is, it's perfect. I don't see a better way you could tell a story like this through a filmmaking lens that puts you on the edge of your seat, but also has such a reverence for what actually happened, but what he did here. And the last thing I do want to say is and just a little nice touch. I like little nice touches like this. Bringing up the map of the cave.
Yes.
Showing
Yes.
where Stalactite Cave and something beach, Pattaya Beach, and different areas that they were in, and showing how much time had elapsed and where they were, and of course how many days had progressed. That's a nice way to just keep you understanding,
grounded.
Grounded
we know
in a system that is so ridiculous. Like, these guys are underwater in these caves for hours and hours at a time, multiple times a day, and just keeping you grounded just a little bit by showing where they are. I think that's a brilliant small touch.
Yeah, Tucker, I think you're absolutely right that this movie will grow on me. If this movie is nominated for Best Picture, if it stands up in the wider audience and the Academy recognizes it as one of the best films of the year, we will be rewatching it for Quest of the Bestest, and absolutely it will grow on me. But that all just depends on if Amazon bungles the marketing and the campaign for this stuff, which we will see.
It's certainly possible, but I do have high hopes because I think that it is being well received. It's being less well received than I expected it to be, and I think they expected it to be, but I think it is being well received on the whole, and I think that Ron Howard's name and the idea of presenting this event in a filmic way has enough cachet to get the attention of it. At least a few awards, and I think those will build over the course of our next award season.
Sure.
And I think that's where they're biding their time. They're waiting for a couple awards to start being nominated and be like, oh, guys, we've had this movie on our streaming service for months. Everyone go watch it right now. Ron Howard is back, baby. And that's when we're going to get ads for this out the wazoo.
I mean, they're seem like they're trying to pull a coda with this one, but we'll see how successful that is.
We certainly will see, and that means that it is done. It is here. We are finished. The review for 13 Lives has concluded. So thank you very much for watching, everyone, and we will see you guys in another review very, very shortly.